On March 5, 2025, a US MQ-9 Reaper drone took off from an American airbase in Djibouti for a routine reconnaissance mission over the Red Sea. It was the kind of mission that had been flown dozens of times before, but just a few hours into its 27-hour flight, that routine shattered. While cruising through international airspace, the drone was suddenly targeted by multiple surface-to-air missiles fired by Houthi forces. Despite deploying dozens of flares and evasive maneuvers, one missile found its mark. The $30 million drone spiraled into the sea, marking the 12th drone the Houthis had taken down since 2023. This followed closely on the heels of an attempted shoot-down of a manned F-16 and joined a staggering list of 174 attacks on U.S. Navy vessels and 145 on commercial shipping. Washington had seen enough. The message from the Pentagon was clear: diplomacy had failed. It was time to eliminate the threat, and fast. At 0100 hours on March 15th, two U.S. Navy destroyers stationed in the Red Sea received the order that had been looming for days: fire. In a matter of minutes, sailors rushed to action, programming the Tomahawk missiles to navigate their predetermined waypoints. Once launched, the missiles' onboard systems would take over, locking in on their classified targets deep inside Yemen. By 0115, vertical launch systems roared to life, expelling salvo after salvo of Tomahawks at a blistering 515 miles per hour. But the real brilliance came in the timing. Each missile was programmed to loiter, to circle above its target area until precisely 0130. The goal? A simultaneous time-on-target strike to overwhelm defenses and maximize chaos. At exactly 0130, explosions rippled across Sana'a International Airport, once a hub of drone activity. Tomahawks slammed into storage depots filled with Shahed drones and ignited the barracks hidden within residential neighborhoods. In the GIF suburb, 4 command posts were obliterated in an instant. With the Houthis' ability to issue field orders cut off, the strike had landed a serious blow, but that was only the beginning. Just 45 minutes later, American F-18s lifted off from the decks of the USS Harry S. Truman. Their mission was precise: target key infrastructure and underground storage across the Sana'a Governorate. Armed with AGM-154 Joint Standoff Weapons, JSOWs, with special Blue 111 penetrating nose plugs, these warheads weren't just explosive, they were burrowing sledgehammers. Capable of breaking through 20 feet of concrete or 100 feet of earth, they were built for exactly this kind of strike. Their first target, a power station responsible for supplying much of the Houthi-controlled grid. Within minutes, the entire region plunged into darkness. Generators failed, lights flickered out, and communication systems went silent. Blind, deaf, and disoriented, the Houthis had just lost their battlefield awareness. Thousands of miles away, 2 B-1 bombers had already been in the air, forward deployed from a Turkish airbase. These long-range bombers cruised silently toward Yemen, timing their arrival just after the blackout. Armed with 24 AGM-158 joint air-to-surface missiles each, JASSMs, the B-1S never had to approach Houthi missile range. Their payloads had a reach of over 1,000 kilometers and a mind of their own. Like the Tomahawks, these smart missiles could loiter in the sky, waiting for the right moment to dive. And they did. At exactly 0300 hours, a storm of precision-guided missiles tore through 8 separate UAV facilities in Al Baida Governorate, effectively wiping out the Houthis' drone stockpile in a single sweep. As the B-1S turned back toward Turkey, Air Force F-15 Strike Eagles thundered into the sky from bases in Qatar and the UAE. Armed with 2 000-pound joint direct attack munitions, they zeroed in on 2 seemingly ordinary apartment blocks in Ib Governorate. But there were no civilians inside. The Houthis had evicted residents and converted the buildings into secret weapons depots, assuming America wouldn't dare hit civilian infrastructure. They were wrong. At 0420, the night sky lit up again as both structures were reduced to smoldering rubble. With the battlefield now dark and disoriented, it was time to silence the last line of defense: radars. The EA-18 Growlers, electronic warfare variants of the F-18, soared into the sky. Their mission was unlike any other aircraft: suppression of enemy air defenses. While normally relying on electronic jamming pods, today they carried a different weapon: AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missiles, or HARMs. These smart missiles scanned for radar emissions and homed in on them with surgical precision. As Houthi radar operators frantically searched the skies, their systems effectively turned into beacons, drawing in death from 70 nautical miles away. The Growlers released their missiles and turned away, watching as the harms vaporized radar sites one after another. But the assault didn't stop there. Beneath the surface of the Red Sea, an American Los Angeles-class submarine lay in wait. Though built to destroy enemy ships, it had been retooled to carry Tomahawks. At 0640, the sub fired more than a dozen missiles through its torpedo tubes, an uncommon but highly effective launch method. By 0710, 4 more command posts in Damar Governorate had been erased from the map. Still lurking above, another weapon joined the fight. The P-8 Poseidon, a reconnaissance aircraft based on the Boeing 737, was patrolling the Red Sea. Today it wasn't just watching, it had teeth. At 0915, the Poseidon unleashed a salvo of AGM-84 SLAM-ER missiles. 15 minutes later, radar sites in Haja Governorate were reduced to dust. By 0930, Houthi air defense coverage was almost entirely eliminated. Then came the final blow. 6 B-52 Stratofortresses, stationed in Qatar, took to the skies. These massive bombers, capable of carrying 70,000 pounds of ordnance, represented the old guard of American air power, but they still packed a devastating punch. At noon, the B-52S released 70 JDAMs, precision-guided bombs on barracks and weapon depots the earlier strikes had missed. With airspace cleared and enemy defenses neutralized, the aging behemoths carried out their mission with ease. No American losses, over 40 targets obliterated. It was a textbook operation, synchronized, precise, and overwhelming. Aboard the ships of the Harry S. Truman Strike Group, sailors and pilots gathered for dinner, celebrating the success of the day's operations. They had delivered a historic blow to the Houthis. Spirits were high, confidence even higher, but war rarely ends when expected. At 1800 hours, radar operators aboard the USS Stout and USS Jason Dunham detected a sudden surge of incoming contacts on their screens, dozens of signals. The Houthis weren't done. Far from it.